Our conversation with the president of the Indiana County Chamber of Commerce is brought to you by Marcus & Mack, a law firm representing injured people. He is indeed Mark Hilliard. Good morning.
Good morning, Todd. How are you?
Wonderful. Good to have you with us here today as we wrap it up in the year 2020 with the Chamber of Commerce. What
a year it's been, huh?
Yeah, there are a lot of different directions we could go here. I actually want to go back to the annual meeting because that's such a big, important event for the Chamber of Commerce. So let's just revisit that from just a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, we were happy to be able to hold it. I know a lot of people like the annual meeting in person. It's always a great event. It's good to be able to get people together like that, and we usually have a good speaker that is able to deliver a good address. But it's looked at. I always look at it as kind of an unofficial kickoff of the holiday season, and it's great to have everybody in one place. But that's just not possible this year, as with the many things. But I still felt we did a good job of being able to hold the annual meeting first and foremost. But I thought Jeffrey Tobin delivered a very nice address, and it was very appropriate for this year in terms of how he kind of compared the COVID to a tsunami, and what would you be wanting to take with you from your business if a tsunami were to come and destroy everything. And I thought it was a good address, well timed for this type of year, but we were happy to hold the meeting, period, regardless of whether it was virtual or in person, and hopefully next year we'll be able to be back at the KCAC and do it in person.
Yeah, it's one of those things where we're happy to do it, but we sure hope we never have to do it this way again. But you did get it done, and so you move forward. I know that you've been watching some of the moves that have been coming through from the state and from the federal government as well, and the various relief efforts. They really are needed, aren't they, for our businesses?
In a lot of different ways, certainly financially. That's been one of the things we've been getting a lot of phone calls the last couple of weeks in terms of what kind of relief may be coming available, and we're keeping our eye on everything and going to try to get information out to businesses as soon as we get all that proper info. But, it's more than just financial. It's just trying to find ways to help promote the businesses that have had restrictions placed on them and find ways to be able to do everything effectively still and be able to have them still get business and be able to have people patronize their store.
Yeah, well, one of the things about that, and we've heard about this the last couple of days, is some businesses have just said that's enough. We're not going to follow certain edicts that come from the governor's office. They're going to go their own course, and I don't know that they have contacted the chamber first for advice or counsel in that matter, but just your reaction as these companies that have done so much to ensure the safety of their customers, and still they just don't seem to be able to do enough to satisfy some of the folks who are calling for even more measures. It's understandable from both sides of the issue, but from the chamber's perspective, how do you react to that?
Well, we support all businesses, first and foremost. So we have had businesses call me, and I have had people ask, what should I do? This is what I'm thinking. This is my situation. And when you hear the pain in their voice, I mean, this is a holiday season, and they rely on some of this revenue that would come in, for their own families. And it's such a busy time of year for so many of them, and you feel for them. Your heart really does go out to them, and if it doesn't, it should. Because imagine if that were you and it was your job and it was your livelihood on the line. To have this happen to them, it's very difficult. And I've said for a long time, I do not understand why certain businesses are allowed to remain open while others are closed. I don't want any of them to close because I feel like most of the businesses that I've been into have been doing things effectively. But restaurants, they have a set of health guidelines they have to follow when things are normal. And every restaurant that I have been into since they were allowed to reopen in the yellow phase back in June, I think they have been going above and beyond to keep everybody safe. And
still there?
I did not understand how you can look at that and from a state level and what kind of they can put out there that can say that is unsafe, but some of these others are safe when you just see mobs of people. Some of these bigger chains, and I don't quite get it. It's not my place to to, necessarily question the governor, but I just don't get the reason behind that. So I can't come out and say that I support businesses opening up and going against the state mandate. I can say that I understand where they're coming from and I understand what they're thinking, but we're trying to find ways that we might be able to help them out, and especially these restaurants. We're trying to look at different things that we might be able to do, especially between Christmas and New Year's, to maybe help get them a little bit more exposure and get some business in a few different ways than maybe we have in the past. So we're looking into it. It's a lot of frustration, and certainly from our standpoint, like I said, the Chamber, we're trying to support every single business that we can. And when these restaurants are telling us, look, this is what we're doing, and we're still getting, our wrist slapped, we're still getting our doors shut, it's hard for me to say, well, this is exactly why, because I see so many contradictions with these mandates. It's very frustrating.
Yeah, it really is. And, there are science arguments that both sides are able to cite and statistical evidence that both sides are able to cite. It's whose science do you want to accept today? And it is very, very difficult. And it's, people have poured their lives into these enterprises, and just to have them taken away, we understand that. And at the same time, we understand the concerns from the governmental level. I think in this case, it's just going to be a case of the clock running out on it, and before we can actually come to some sort of equitable solution. Meanwhile, we approach a brand new year, and I've laughed because I said to all of the churches this weekend are going to be having their last sermon of the year, and how many of them do you think by percentage are going to have a sermon on good riddance 2020, and let's hope 2021 is a whole lot better. It's going to be that message combined with the Christmas message, but every year we get to the end of the year and we say we hope next year is better. This year, even more so than ever. So from a Chamber of Commerce standpoint, moving forward into 2021, I know you're very hopeful.
We are. It's disappointing because we were very hopeful coming into this year, and we were really thinking for Indiana County this was going to be a banner year, 2020, and had such optimism heading into this year. Now, it's a different kind of optimism heading into next year, because I don't think we can't just reset. It's just impossible to do that at this point in time. But we're hoping that, with the vaccine now coming out there and, being able to try to get through the holiday season and try to find ways to handle the virus and be able to have businesses continue to operate safely. I do think that if things are starting to trend upward, which I'm seeing signs of that, other than obviously the mandates that we just discussed, if that continues to happen, I do think that, once people are getting healthier, that there's that more confidence to be able to go. I could see 2021, once that happens, and it may not be right away, it may take a few months, it may even take till the summer, but I could see something in the lines of, people just ready to get out and support business, be able to get out and support events and tourism, and I think it could blow up in a good way. Now, we are seeing a whole lot of positive signs behind the scenes, and there are things we'd already talked about. Wyotech, we saw Dunham's up at the Indiana Mall. There are some things that are happening within Indiana County, and there's some others that I can't talk about just yet, that we're seeing some things that are setting us up for what could be a great couple of years ahead. And we still have our eye on workforce development and training the workforce in a great way. So I can see a lot of good things that are happening, that once some of these restrictions get lifted and we start to get consumer confidence and basically the public's confidence to be able to go out and do things, I don't want to say normal because I hate using that word anymore, but once we can get past this bumpy road, I think that Indiana County is going to be positioned to start making some of those strides that we expected this year.
Yeah, our businesses, I believe, are going to be so much better off in 2021 as this vaccine comes along, if only for the fact that people will begin to have the confidence to go out into public again. And we pray.
I think that's a big part of it.
Yeah, we pray that the vaccine is going to be as effective as they indicate that it will be, and that there are no other bumps in that road. But it's so very, very important from not only the retailer's perspective, but from manufacturing, and for every sector of the business community, 2021 is going to have to be a tremendous rebound year in order for them to stay in business. And Indiana County, hopefully, is positioned to do that.
Yeah, and I want to give a couple of plugs here. I think that, unfortunately, part of the problem is just this fear that has been out there, going through social media, and it's just caused a lot of the public to just be afraid without really knowing why they're afraid. We're working hard with it used to be the Indiana County COVID Task Force. It's now called Indiana County Reach, and I would encourage you to get on Facebook and like that group. We're trying to get the proper information out there so that you can be educated before you decide to go out. And in terms of the vaccine or shopping or anything that you might be COVID related or beyond, because this is a group that is looking to benefit Indiana County beyond the COVID pandemic. Get on there, get the right information. Don't just be afraid by what you're reading on Facebook from a couple of friends, because there's a lot of faulty information out there. And please, get out there and shop local and support your local businesses any way that you can.
Absolutely. Here we go toward the Christmas day. It's only a couple of days away. There's still a lot of shopping to be done, and we hope folks will get out there and do it safely and locally. Mark Hilliard, thanks so much for visiting with us this morning. Best of Christmas.
Have a Merry Christmas.
To you and to everybody at the Chamber of Commerce as well. Have a great day today.
All right. Thanks, Todd. Bye.
It is the voice of Indiana County, WCCS 101.1 FM and AM 1160.